Hi, and welcome back to Bounce Forward with me, Tiff Hall. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I'm recording this podcast, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. I pay my respects to elders, past and present. Each episode, I'm answering your questions. It's so much fun. So make sure you reach out to me on Instagram at tiffhall_xo or send me an email at bounceforward@novaentertainment.com.au and I'll answer them on upcoming episodes. So let's get into it. Brooke. Hi, Brooke. She says, "Hi, Tiff. I enjoy your podcast. Always listen when I go for a walk." That's the best way to listen to my podcast. Just wondering if you could help me with this question. Is pre-workout powder good for you? Do they help with you burning more fat before doing workouts? Thanks. Okay, such a good question. And I have had a funny relationship with pre-workouts. So I'll just tell you about my experience. I've tried all sorts. When I was teaching at different gyms, body combat, body pump classes, right? One class after another, I was trying different pre-workouts because it was exhausting and they would make my heart race so much that I would either do a class that was way too fast and people got scared, or I would feel like I was having a heart attack on stage. And I just didn't like the feeling because it was the jitters. It gives you the jitters. This is some of them. And I remember one time I took one that was called Poison. I don't know why. It was back in the day called Poison. And I rang my boyfriend, who is my husband now. He was at the grand final for AFL footy, right? He had to leave the grand final and come home to me because I couldn't see. I had blurred vision. I felt like I was going blind, like it was full on, and it was dizzy and it was really, really bad. So that's my experience with pre-workouts, and I don't really take them anymore. What I do take as a pre-workout now is a black coffee and a banana with honey on it and a pinch of salt, because the salt helps with the hydration and to keep the water in, and the banana and the honey is really good carbohydrate and energy, and it gives me a little bit of a zing as I go into my workout. So I keep it pretty basic. But let's talk about pre-workouts and what they are. They're supplements, right? And they're designed to support energy, your focus, and your endurance during your training. Typically found in powder form, pre-workouts are very convenient, absolutely, to add caffeine and other functional ingredients into your workout. Some of those ingredients are things like caffeine, which can support your energy and help your mood as well and your focus. And, depending on the pre-workout supplement, it can range anything from 100 to 400 milligrams, which is probably why I've had the jitters with some of the stronger ones. And you've got to keep that in mind, that it does create irritability sometimes, the jitters, sleeplessness, like when I felt like I was having a heart attack. Then the other thing that's usually in pre-workouts that's quite important is creatine, which is really well researched and tested and a great sports nutrition supplement. And creatine, it supports your energy production by supporting ATP regeneration, and it's all about strength, power, performance, recovery, muscle building, and taken over time, it can really help you build that muscle. But I found when I took creatine that it bloated me and it blew me up a little bit. I looked puffy. I don't know why, but I just had a bad experience with creatine also. Then you usually have your B vitamins. They're great. They're always in pre-workouts because they give you energy and support the breakdown and transport of nutrients. Electrolytes, which are really important, your sodium, potassium, magnesium, your chloride, just to name a few, they're usually in pre-workouts, and that's really good because you're about to sweat and you want to have that hydration. So let's talk timing. Pre-workouts are typically consumed 15 to 16 minutes before you work out. Make sure you read and follow the instructions carefully. And, if you have any kind of condition, chat to your doctor before, run everything by them. In my experience, I would just do that research. And if you're pregnant, if you're breastfeeding, don't go near a pre-workout. Just have the banana, please. And some other side effects, you can have digestive symptoms, irregular heartbeats, which I've talked through, rise in blood pressure, changes in blood sugar. So really, you don't want to mess with them. I find that if you're an experienced exerciser and you're experienced with supplements and you know your body, like you've taken creatine on its own before and you know what creatine does to your body, and you've taken high doses of caffeine like no-dose before and you know what that does to your body, then having a pre-workout with all those things mixed together, you're like pretty confident, oh, I know how this is going to go. But if you've never taken any of these kind of ingredients before and you do your pre-workout first time and you go into a class, it could be a disaster. So I tend to just have my coffee and banana, and that's what I would recommend and do recommend to my clients. So then, Brooke, you did ask, do they help with burning more fat before doing weights? And some pre-workouts do come with fat burners in them, like L-carnitine. And yes, they can, because they increase your energy. So you might have more energy to go a bit harder in that workout, and then your output of burning those calories is greater. And you may lose more fat over time using the pre-workouts. But I wouldn't say it was because of the pre-workout. It's because you're loaded with a bit more energy and you're going a little bit harder. Things like L-carnitine are definitely fat burners. But if you sat down and just took L-carnitine and watched Netflix, you're not going to burn fat. It is about you going and doing the workout and what your body is doing and the ATP. So I think definitely I'd say no to that. I don't think that they help burn more fat during or before weights. I think that it's just all about giving you a little extra zing so that you have more energy to have a bigger output during your workout. Thanks so much for listening to Bounce Forward. I love having your company, so please DM me on Instagram at tiffhall_xo and let me know what topics you'd love me to cover. Don't forget to rate and review me on your podcast app. Speak soon.